Fresh strawberries? Who doesn't like fresh strawberries? Let's plant some in our backyard garden. Hey guys, this is Daryl, Louisiana Simple Living. Thanks for coming out to the garden again. Man, I love coming out my back door, going in my backyard, and picking fruit fresh off the vine or fresh off the bush. Like blueberries, blackberries, figs, ground cherries, and especially strawberries. That's going to be the topic of our video today, strawberries. The strawberries grown in your backyard are the freshest and most tasty strawberries you can get. And look, strawberries go great in zone 9A. Now there's 3 methods actually that I use, but I'm only going to show you 2 of them because I'm only going to do 2 of them this season. And I have traditionally planted them in the raised bed. They do great. They spread. The little runners jump out and they grow. But I wanted to use my raised bed for something else, so I got my other 2 methods that I use. Number 1, I got some ceramic type of planters. Then the other method I use, you got to get a little crafty. A couple years back, I built these hanging strawberry planters made out of basically metal ductwork, and you can plant a number of plants in that hanging strawberry planter as well. Hey, go ahead and subscribe and ring that notification bell. Don't you miss any of this great content. Alright, let's get started. Alright, before we start planting the strawberries, I want to cover a couple key facts about strawberries. Alright, so we got 3 basic types of strawberry plants. Alright, so June-bearing varieties, which is the ones we're going to be talking about today, they basically, their fruit comes ripe, it bears all their fruit within 3 or 4 or 5 weeks at the same time in the year. In this climate that we're in, it will come before June, but you got a time period of late spring, early summer that it's going to harvest. And then in this area, once you get into the hot summer months, that's when those plants are going to try to send out runners and be able to start new plants. The ever-bearing types of strawberry plants, those varieties, generally have a big spring crop. They really slack off in the summer. And then toward late summer, early fall, then you'll have another harvest. For the day-neutral type of strawberry varieties, they basically harvest all throughout the season up until the first frost. You don't get as much fruit or as much strawberries from those plants as you do from, say, a June bearing. But again, June bearing is the type of varieties that we're going to be talking about here today. And that's what's recommended for home growing as well. I'm planting 2 varieties this year. One is a Gurney Whopper strawberry. The first time I ever planted those, that came from Gurney's nursery. And so it's supposed to be some really big, sweet strawberries. So I wanted to try that. I've already planted those in some of my hanging planters. Yeah, and Sequoia, that's the second type. And I got those in 2 different forms. I got two packs of them, so I think it's 10 in each pack from Lowe's the other day. The others, I've used those Sequoias before and actually planted them in containers and in the raised bed. And if you leave it in a container, the runners are going to run out, and so you got new plants from those. So I'm going to pull some of those out and use those as well. Alright, I do not plant strawberries by seed, so you can purchase them. You purchase them as a bare root. They come, they're kind of dried out, they're not wet, they're in a dormant state. And then once you plant them, majority of them will revive and peak back up. And you'll start seeing green growing from it, and you'll have strawberries in no time. Alright, when they come, like I said, they do come as a bare root, and they have the center part right above where all the roots are is what's called the crown. And that crown portion, now when you go and plant it, that crown portion cannot be covered up by soil. So that's where it starts growing, coming out of that crown. Your roots down below are fine, but if you cover up that crown, it has a much higher chance of rotting, and we don't want to do that. Now, strawberry plants do require 6 to 10 hours of sunlight a day, so wherever you plant them, if it's in a container, if it's a hanging container, if you got it in your raised bed, just make sure you get 6 to 10 hours of sunlight getting to it a day. And I'll show you some in just a minute, but strawberry plants, they basically, as they grow, they grow what's called a runner, and that runner is just a long stem kind of that comes out of the strawberry plant, and maybe 6, 7, 8 inches away, that runner is going to touch down into the soil, and it's going to reroot that runner, it'll root into the soil, and that's basically you got a new plant. It's an independent plant, even though it's still connected by that runner. It creates an independent plant, so you can go ahead and you can snip that runner, and that becomes a new plant. You can replant it or leave it where it's at. All right, so let's take a look at some of these strawberries we grew last year in these containers versus what you can buy at Lowe's, let's just say. This is a sequoia, as I talked about earlier. All right, just kind of taking a look. These are the strawberries in containers. As you can tell, there's multiple plants in here, or a runner. Look at these. This is runners that had jumped over and planted them in here. And look over here, you got some more plants. That all comes from the runners that come out. Let's take a look over here. And you see, this is what I'm referring to by a runner. This thing is ultimately going to try to get to the ground, just like this one. That thing's going to root when it gets in the ground. All right, so I want to go ahead and harvest a few of these runners over here because I'm going to reuse them. All right, so good root system. That's a good plant for me. I mean, look at this one. You already got. I mean, you got a lot of fruit already coming up on it. There you go. It actually grew from here over to here. Incredible, if you really think about it. Big nice root system. Now look here, you got a runner. You see that piece there? Just pull that up. That's a whole plant right there. I mean, that's a whole plant right there. All right, so what I'm gonna do is show you what these look like. The sealed bag. But here's what they look like. Not like a whole lot of much, huh? Nothing to lie, but they're in a dormant state. The fact that they're dry is not going to hurt them. There's a rubber band somewhere on here. That's what I'm trying to find. All right, so you can start separating them. I'm hoping there's no mold in here. Like if they got wet, that'd be a problem. So I'm gonna kind of set them right here just so you can see. So this is the actual crown. So you got roots right here, and you got the crown. And this is a runner. Where all the roots kind of come up and tie together, there's a crown, and that's what it's called, a crown. This is what you don't want to cover up completely with soil. Again, just kind of get another little look. This is an old runner right here. This is the root system. This is your crown right here. So when I put that when I plant it, I'm going to put my roots down, and I'm going to put dirt or soil up to the top of this edge right here. You don't want to cover that whole portion up right here, because then it will probably rot, or it can rot. Okay. The hanging containers turned out to be a pretty neat way to growing strawberries, and heck, they look pretty cool too. I got the idea when my wife saw a video on Garden Answer. It's a YouTube channel. It does a ton of gardening stuff, and she had made something like this, so I kind of took that concept and went ahead and made it for myself. It's basically, I think it's 4-inch metal duct with a duct cap screwed on at the bottom, and I used a hole saw to cut the holes. The other thing I did talk about was you got to make sure you have that sheet moss that kind of helps hold the soil in, which is what we need. And let me show you how I plant one of these. They work very well during the summer. Just kind of make sure you keep them watered. They're hanging in the air, and the walls are made of metal, so they will dry out fairly fast, or at least faster than your raised bed. So just make sure you watch the water. Try to water them daily is what I do. So let's go ahead and plant one of these. All right, so what I got here, this is preserved sheet moss. So you basically use the sheets in here around the holes, and it keeps all the soil inside the container. All right, so just real quick, it's nothing but duct work. Okay, I think it's 4-inch, and it has a cap that I just use sheet metal screws screwed in the bottom, and got a hole in the bottom to make sure it will drain. And got some chain, some carabiners, and got it to where I can hang it. So first off, what we got to do is just start getting some soil in here. I'm just using container mix or potting soil. Okay, so it's kind of filling up. So all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one in right here around the bottom. And I'll get a plant. Okay, so I got me a nice plant here that we just pulled out. Remember the crown? This is your crown. You don't want to cover that up, the bottom part here. So let's get our roots in here. Then I'm going to use another piece of the sheet moss to kind of hold the top. Okay, so here's the crown. There's the crown right here. It's not covered up. This thing is going to grow and hang down. So we're ready to put some more dirt in it. Yeah, so just kind of showing you, I just started on the first one. That sheet moss, what it does, it just holds the soil inside. So if you kind of look from the inside, once I pack some dirt down in there, it'll push that sheet moss up against the edge, and it'll hold that strawberry plant where it needs to be, and then it won't let soil come out as well when you're watering it. That's what we're looking like from the very top. Now I cut I think 10 holes in this thing. What I've gotten is I'll skip. So I got 2 holes right here. I'll go ahead and plant one of them, and I'll just put sheet moss over the other one just so we don't have anything come out. Let's try one of these from the Lowe's container, the Lowe's bag. So again, get the roots in there, and there's your crown right here. We want to make sure it stays where it's at. Now for this extra one, empty one here, I'm just going to put some moss down in there, and it'll be just fine. It won't go anywhere, the dirt. And voila, you got a hanging strawberry planter. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and water this hanging strawberry planter in. It's got a mixture of some really good long green ones that I pulled out of the ground there, plus some of the ones you bought from Lowe's, which you can barely see the crown just sticking out. They're going to be okay. They'll revive, but we want to make sure we water it all the way through. Alright, so I'm going to hang it from right here, right next to this other one I did a week or 2 ago. I'm going to hang this other one. This one right here that's looking really well, I'm going to go hang it elsewhere. such a nice big one. I'm gonna plant that one up here. And these strawberry plants are pretty vibrant. I mean, robust. They're going to rebound back. Especially these ones here that they're perfectly healthy. We just got to reroot them. They're going to be fine. Where's the crown? All right, get them to the crown. Don't want to cover that up, do I? That's good. Big, beautiful root system. I'll go ahead and plant this one, I think, in here. We'll go ahead and put another one up here. Alright, so we just want to water them in now. Hey, thanks for coming back to Louisiana Simple Living. Appreciate you taking your time to come and see what we're doing here. And I hope you've enjoyed our episode on planting strawberries and growing strawberries in your backyard. There's nothing like a fresh, juicy strawberry directly off the plant. I got a couple of exciting videos coming up. We're talking about being able to do the 275 subscriber giveaway. Just something simple that I can give away to you guys for one of you subscribers in the domestic U.S. who is subscribed to the channel and appreciate the videos. I really appreciate all the comments you guys are putting on your videos. It just means the world to take that effort, put all this together, and then recognize you guys are liking what you're seeing and appreciating the content we're putting out. If you haven't subscribed as yet, go ahead and subscribe. I don't want you to miss any more of this content. If you haven't as yet, please do. Upcoming videos, I got one where I'm going to talk about how to organize my seed packets. I got a ton of seeds. I got to do something, so I've got an idea, or I've looked around different ways of doing things, and I've used an accordion file, kind of like for documents. It's worked okay, but it's just not doing everything I need to do. So I'm going to switch over, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. In another future episode, we'll do something on the herb garden. I love having herbs that are fresh. I cook a heck of a lot, and love to have the fresh herbs throw on the meal and flavor that thing up. So just a reminder, make memories now rather than later. And as always, I'll see you on the next video.